Art is an expression, and it is as vital to human beings as rain is to crops. I missed you. Let's talk about art today. As per my style of filming tends to go, this is going to be yet again a chaotic stream of consciousness. Just my thoughts and feelings, not even on paper, just straight from my head to my mouth. A perhaps needless but morally obligatory disclaimer: I don't know what I'm talking about, ever. Despite popular contrary belief. All I have are my own needs, wants, desires, opinions, morality. In short, I am not a qualified artist. What makes an artist qualified? Having a degree? Being successful? That's so silly that you can measure some kind of immeasurable talent. I studied creative writing. That doesn't mean I'm any more qualified person than the next person to write something creatively. I just write because I really fucking love it. I do all kinds of art because I really fucking love it. Any form of creative expression in general, I am obsessed with. Painting, sketching, writing, drawing, dancing, singing, playing an instrument, and then things that aren't considered art forms primarily, like intimacy and communication and all these kinds of things, like how you present yourself. I think that's so much art in that. So the reason that I am making this video, I was prompted by TikTok, because all good videos are prompted by TikToks, right? I am also chronically online, and I saw a TikTok that irked me the wrong way, so I'm making, it's not a response, it's just simply inspired by, and I will get to the context of this TikTok later, but I feel like that was kind of the final push for me to just dedicate all of my platforms to the arts. Completely, utterly, totally, utterly, completely, devotionally, just the arts. All kinds of arts, all skill levels of art, because we're gonna get to skill levels of art. The TikTok was of somebody who probably did not even consider the repercussions of their words, let alone the sheer amount that it blew up and landed on everybody's algorithm. The context essentially was them tearing young artists to shreds for not being perfect. Something about young poets being riddled with tacky metaphors. And the gist of it was, her solution was to not post any kind of art on the internet if it's going to not please her. What? 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 Also, I was shocked by the sheer amount of support in the comments. There were comments saying, so true, why are we celebrating mediocrity? Nobody's celebrating mediocrity. We're celebrating young or beginner or flourishing artists expressing themselves and being vulnerable. That takes so much courage. That was just so shocking for me to come across and see. It's not about making good art or bad art, and don't even get me started on the dichotomy of good and bad art, because what is good and bad if one does not exist to define the other? I want to step in and defend art and artists, and I want to say, please don't stop making art because somebody on the internet said it might not be to their liking. That's not the point of art. And I know it's terrifying being in an online space, especially in this kind of online space like TikTok, where people can hide behind anonymous screens and things don't really have consequences, but there There is so much incredible vulnerability to just flourish and embrace your innate humanness and be vulnerable and express yourself in front of other people, and it doesn't have to be for anyone but you. I am so lucky and so blessed to have accumulated all of these platforms with incredible people like you. I love you, thank you, who are devoted to the arts and who come for inspiration for the arts, and that is so incredible, and that's the kind of community that we're trying to nurture and nourish and push out into the world. And I think that's so special to me. That is the thing that provides me with the most joy in the whole entire world, is knowing that there are people that are inspired by my passion, because I've been inspired by so many other people's passions, and just the unapologetic passion that shines so brightly it warms the entire world. That's where it's at. That's the stuff. That is the delicious stuff. This is probably the best possible moment to introduce you to this video's sponsor, and if you have watched my videos for a while, you know I work very closely, because I align very much with the morality of Skillshare. So Skillshare is an online learning community with thousands of inspiring classes for anybody who wants to explore their creativity, very relevant, and learn new skills, very relevant. I've been using Skillshare for a while, and I can confidently say if there is a skill I want to learn or refine, there's a class for it on Skillshare. I browse Skillshare when I want to get a head start on a project like the painting that I just did. I really enjoyed this class from Lorianne Gonzalez on acrylic painting, because I've forgotten how to paint, evidently. It was simple, it was to the point, and it really helped me to go back to the basics for projects like this. Luckily for you, the first 1,000 people to follow the link in the description box and join Skillshare will get a free 1-month trial, and I can assure you it is worth it. I guess this is the part where I rapidly descend into an unbridled monologue on my own trials and tribulations with perfectionism and the horrors of being perceived and the fear of feedback in general. The beauty of autonomy is that you don't actually have to know what you're doing in order to do it. You can be poor or inexperienced at something and still do it, and that doesn't mean you're doing it any less. You're still doing the exact same task. You're not painting because you're not painting like Bob Ross. You're still painting. You're not writing poetry because you don't think that it's good enough to be published. You're still a poet. Just because you dance in your bedroom doesn't mean you're not a dancer, because you're not on a stage in front of thousands of people. I know I keep on making the same point, but I don't know if I'm making my point. What is my point? Doing something unconventionally or badly is still doing it. You're still an artist. We all know taste is subjective, and everybody has different preferences, so I don't know why discrepancies in the amateur art community still exist. Everybody's gonna go for different things and have different definitions of what they like and what they therefore think is good. Opinions and preferences are so valid, and expressing these opinions and preferences are so valid. I express my own opinions and preferences a lot, probably more than I even should. It's okay to not like a book or a painting or a poem, but I think that it's really important, and this is something that I'm still learning, because we all are, because we're all so disgustingly human. Just because you don't resonate with something does not mean it is therefore bad, or therefore not worthy of respect. Without practice of expression and shape-shifting and evolving and learning and growing and being, how is anybody meant to improve, let alone find their own voice, find their true voice and their true form of art? Why do we shun artists in this process? Like, this process ever even ends? Improvement is inevitable if you're a practicing artist, and that might not manifest in ways that are expected, but who knows what to expect ever about anything? Art has always consumed me in her many forms. From infancy, I have devoted myself entirely to the arts. I've always danced on various forms of calisthenics and gymnastics and torsion, that was a fun era. I've always painted and sketched and sang and cartwheeled, and I've always written. I've always written. I've never claimed to do any of these things well. Never. Actually, I would have, definitely. I definitely have. But it goes without saying, these things are cathartic. They're a release. Art is this strange sentient being that is always going to be there for you and nobody else is. Whether you need to talk or listen, because it can do both. And half the time I don't know how I'm feeling or how I want to express myself until it's already on paper. It's this really magic thing. Art is everything, just as much as it is nothing, just as much it is more or less all I personally will ever need. I suppose I'm here to tell you that there is so much solace and thrill and even lust in being vulnerable on the internet. Not even on the internet, just in public spaces as an artist. Humans are so impossibly imperfect and vulnerable, but that's the best part. I am a perfectionist. I've always struggled with perfectionism. And if you are a perfectionist and an artist, you know the self-eating snake cycle that this is. And this isn't something that can just be defeated. But from my experience with this, I want to tell you how incredibly rewarding it is to be vulnerable and share your art with people. Share your art, because you don't know what it's going to mean for somebody else. I write for myself exclusively. I used to dance for myself exclusively. And then when people would approach me and say those things resonated, that's it. That's the juice, that's the life force. That is the raison d'etre, that's the reason for being. Making art for yourself and nobody else is magic. And then sharing that is even more magic. Vulnerability is magic. The intimacy of sharing something private and even half-formed is magic. Making art is magic, consuming art is magic, all kinds of art are magic. Should I go on? Do you understand what I'm saying? I think that art is the closest we can come to magic, and even magic is the closest that we can come to art. It's alchemy, by definition, turning one thing into another, right? I don't have a point. I don't know how to conclude this. I don't have a call to action. I do actually. Make art. Make art. It doesn't matter if you're not ready to share it yet. I just want everybody to make art, and I don't want anybody to be discouraged by TikToks saying, oh, young poets use too many metaphors. Yeah, hell yeah. Use all the metaphors. Make art, make good art, make bad art, make art that's mediocre and celebrate it. Make art for your journal, make art for your bedroom walls, make art for galleries, make art for a stage in front of the most important people in the world, whoever the hell they might be to you. Make art and put it on the internet to be evaluated by relentless, ruthless strangers. Because who cares anyway? What does good and bad and mediocre even mean? I should stop now before I continue forever. Thank you for sitting with me whilst I vented about something really important to me. And thank you for being on this journey with me, and thank you for making my dreams as an artist come true. And I wish this upon everybody. And I'm really grateful that I have a platform to talk about these kinds of things with you. I just realized how fast I've been talking because this is a very passionate topic for me. Anyway, I will go. I love you a lot.